Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Rick and Lee with the Freedom System. We are giving free real estate coaching to real estate agents. And for the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be bringing on guest agents, guest top producers, top coaches from around the country, from around the globe to give you more coaching from a different perspective. Lee's going to take a quick break. He is sharpening the saw, as they say. There's an old adage, and that is that if there were two guys went in to cut down trees and see who could cut down the most trees, right? They were loggers. They each got a saw, and one guy went and was sawing, and the other guy was sawing and would take a break, sawing, take a break, sawing, take a break, and the first guy was just sawing. And at the end of the day, the adage goes that the one who kept taking the break, the one who kept taking the break actually cut down the most trees. And the guy who never took a break was like, how is that even possible? And the guy who took breaks said, hey, you got to sharpen your saw. And with a sharp saw, you can cut down trees, right? With a dull saw, you're just going to be working really, really hard and not getting anywhere. So Lee is sharpening his saw right now. And I applaud him for that, taking the personal time to just clear the head and take a break, enjoy life, enjoy the money we make, enjoy freedom. That is what freedom is. You can say, hey, I'm going to go take a break. So when you have freedom from the Freedom System, you'll be able to do that too. Now, we've been talking a lot about production, right? Mindset for production, the discipline of production, how to get into production. And what that really starts with is organic, right? That's the bedrock and the foundation of your system. $0 in, $1 out. And your name's going to mean something, right? You become the go-to expert, the advisor. The market's going to develop a belief that you are the best agent to get them what they want and the right agent. When you develop to a certain point, and I've got some notes here that I'm reading from. Hey, who's that calling you? We have a surprise guest, our first surprise guest. Lee Jennings from Seattle. Welcome.
How's it going, man?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm good.
I was just telling him how you're going to go sharpen the saw for a couple of weeks. We're going to have some guests on the show. I'm going to tap into Libertas, and we're going to try to get John and JJ and Colette and Heath and Chuck and a bunch of other people on here.
Hopefully we do have a very deep bench.
Dude, we have such a deep bench. If I can get Orlando and we have such a Steve Powers. We have such a deep bench of coaches and top producing agents that we're going to just push the envelope a little bit. I'm going to spread the word, and bada bing, bada boom. We're going to get just all sorts of coaching. And I'm going to be taking furious notes, folks, because guess what? When you invite a coach on your show, you get free coaching. So I'm going to be taking furious notes. I'm going to be asking questions. I'm going to be asking Chuck Williamson, how do you get a listing a day in North Carolina with one assistant? Heath Moulton, how are you the #1 home builder in Iowa? Sean Kokoska, what was it like being president of MAPS Coaching globally? Why would you move to EXP? All these things and more.
Rick,
so I'm excited you're leaving, dude. Just get out of here.
I think back to that call we had. We had a call with Orlando. I want to say it was maybe like, when was that?
December?
Only like 2 months ago or something. Yeah. And I ever since we had that call, I've thought back to that call. He just has like such a presence, and his like enthusiasm is infectious. So yeah, I'd love to have him on.
Yeah, Eric Orland, hope to get him on the show. He's a rock star.
Yeah.
He's developing some amazing systems right now that I want to just kind of take a peek under the hood and see what those are. Todd Watkins, David Torgerson. I'm doing shout outs to all these people, hoping they hear me. We're going to get you guys on the show. David Torgerson, by the way, he's in a discount market, small town. He'll teach you how to take a 7% listing and keep 4% for yourself.
Yeah.
In a market where everybody's saying it's impossible. Everybody's going discount. And David goes 7. Actually, he lets his clients tell him 7. And that's the beauty of it. But he'll teach you that. I'm not going to steal his thunder.
Well, and it's an incredible group of people. I think David Torgerson in particular, you think about the market that he's in and the type of business he's doing, and it's pretty incredible. Let's just,
Yeah. Is he in Billings or Missoula?
Helena. Which is not, have you been to Helena? No. It's not, this is not a big town, and he's doing an incredible number of transactions.
His team's doing 80 plus homes a year.
Mm-hmm.
And he's designed the system to have freedom.
Yeah.
He just has leads coming in like you wouldn't believe,
Mm-hmm.
and he's closing. He doesn't need an office because he's got virtual office through EXP, but he went out and bought an office. We got Kevin Yoder in Michigan, also running an incredible team. Man, that guy's got some mindset tips he's going to drop on you guys. I'm so excited. Yeah,
Well,
when he told me you're going on vacation, I'm like, how am I going to steer the show by myself? And I'm like, you know what? You don't have to. And
yeah.
that's the thing. Real estate does not have to be an independent deal, right? Like I was thinking, I'm like an entrepreneur. I was thinking like a broker. I was thinking like a business owner,
Yeah.
which I was for 16 years. If Lee leaves, it's all on me.
Right.
And I've got to watch my flock. I've got to tend to the sheep. I've got to make sure like all 5 or 10 are happy and thriving. And guess what? When you have freedom, you can rely on others. You can collaborate with others. You can tap into the resources and the bench that we have. And all of a sudden, smile comes back. Freedom exists. Life is wonderful. It's snowing, cats and dogs living together. It's a beautiful thing.
Well, and this is something, Rick, that I've been talking to a lot of people about who, like, particularly about EXP and like, especially like folks who are new to agent attraction and new, to the recruiting piece of it. And I'm like, they're like, I don't know how to do this. How do I do it? And I'm like, you don't have to. That's the best part. There are other people who will help you and do it for you. And that's the most incredible thing. I mean, I've never experienced anything like that in all the time that I've been in the business. I've been licensed since 2005. I mean, I've seen a lot of stuff in the business over the years, and I've never seen anything like the collaboration and just people helping each other be successful, especially those who are new to it and are feeling like it's daunting.
Yeah, and the other thing I want to do is send a little call out to people who are in the waning years of their career. I was talking to someone a little while ago, and they were trying to plan their retirement. They're probably 3 years left in the biz, and we were talking about, do you have investment properties? Do you have stock? I mean, stock has tanked, and it's late January 2022, and people will read back on how crappy the market was right now, right? And so I was asking them, like, what's your retirement plan? And they're like, oh, we're just too late in the game to get into agent attraction and all this stuff. I said, yeah, I think Gene Frederick felt that way too, right? Fully retired, number 41 in the world in profit share with Keller Williams, owned the Northwest, Northern California, Washington, Hawaii, offices in Carmel and Palo Alto. Like, the guy had it made, but he saw that he owned a Blockbuster and Netflix was coming. And he sold out of his position in Keller Williams, moved over to EXP when we only had 500 agents. And as of the time, I saw a post this morning, we just crested 73,000 agents.
Yep.
Gene definitely saw the writing on the wall, and he's been instrumental in actually helping that writing be put on the wall. And the beautiful thing is, Gene's like this little grandpa in a cardigan. I mean, like, he's the most wonderful guy, but he just lives to give.
Yeah.
And he just wants to, he's like, I was retired, but how many agents can I retire? He wants to help agents retire, right?
Yeah.
So I'm looking at agents who are 55, 60, 65. I'm looking at agents at 70, God forbid 75 and still on a listing appointment. But I'm also looking at agents who are 40, 30 and don't have your retirement lined up. If you've been in real estate for more than 5 years, Tim Harris will tell you, be pissed off that your retirement's not already 100% booked. Like, you should be really pissed off at yourself and then fix the problem, right?
Yeah.
So it's never too late to start. Gene was in his 60s when he started. He has 15,000 people in his group 6 years later and counting. And the thing is, he said it's going to be even easier for you because he's paved the way and we're growing that much faster. And EXP is no longer uncertain and the tech is no longer glitchy. Everything's just a well-oiled machine. I don't know. We're digressing onto freedom, but hey.
Well, and if you look at if you look at the growth, I mean, you look at 1,200 agents a week. Okay, so do the math. The company's going to double in size in a year, and I mean, and you think about, I mean, there's this thing of like, oh, it's too late. It's already happened. I missed the boat, and I really think it's exactly the opposite. I mean, I think it's like you're getting in at a really good time, and you have. And the company is on this exponential growth trajectory, and like you have everyone around you now who can support you. Whereas those guys, like if you joined when there were 500 people in the company or 200 people in the company, it was a different story. Nobody knew about the company. You were like, you want to talk rolling a rock up a hill. I mean, that was a whole different world. I mean, you have 73,000 people around the world who are willing to collaborate with you and help you do what you're trying to accomplish.
And show proven systems like, hey, can a 10-person team come over? Yes. Let me introduce you to 15 of them. Can a 100-person brokerage, a 900-person brokerage come over? Yes. Let me introduce you to a couple of them, right? Like, we have proven success, and that makes your job that much easier, right?
Yeah.
So Gene says, well, when he went into Texas originally, he was like, hey, do you want to be the first agent in all of Texas? He was like, that's a hard sell. Do you want to be agent number 1200 in Dallas? That's not a hard sell, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's already proven. And the other thing is too, like, he pointed out that probably 80% of the deals in 5 years from now are going to be done by agents who don't even have their license yet.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So there is I'm going to put my phone on mute. Sorry. So there's just kind of an endless churning out of real estate schools of new real estate agents. When I was an attorney back in the day, like, I always thought, oh my gosh, there aren't going to be any more jobs. Well, people roll off the top, right? People graduate out of the profession. People realize being an attorney kind of stinks. So, after 3 or 4 years, like, there's this huge advertising for agents with 4 to 7 years of experience because nobody makes it past 3 years.
Yeah.
But there's this constant churn into the low end where people are just minting out attorneys at $120,000 of student debt, a year. Like, they're just churning them out. And real estate school, fortunately, doesn't have that barrier to entry. Michigan, it's 40 hours, and Colorado, it's 160, but still, it's not that big a barrier.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's, I read statistics where it's like some giant percentage of the total agents in the country turn over like every year. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a massive opportunity right now. And I mean, I don't really think that, I think the biggest thing that I sense when I talk to the folks who are in our group and just people in the company in general is that I don't think there's enough realization of really what the opportunity is right now. That's just my opinion. I mean, I really don't think people have a real sense of like what's going on out there or how big of a deal this is.
Yeah. And it's kind of hard to convey because it is so big. Right.
Yeah. 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 It's something where, I mean, like I said, I mean, I've been in the business a while. I was with Remax initially when I first got licensed in 2005. I was the assistant to another agent who was doing like 65 transactions a year. He was doing a great business. And, so I saw that model. I saw, he was paying for this huge office in Boulder. And like, I mean, it was beautiful. It was nice. It was a great place to work. But, then I saw that, and then I was with Century 21, and then I was with Keller Williams. I've been with a lot of brokerages, and I've just never really seen this type of a growth path, and this type of an opportunity. And I like I say, I just don't think that people are really grasping what is going on and the moves that the company is making. And it's just exciting to be a part of it.
Yeah, we just announced 3 new countries. Mm-hmm. Like, when we say we're going to be in 50 countries in 5 years, we will. I mean, yeah. Michael Valdez is just a machine at opening new countries. Mm-hmm. And I say a machine because he's effective and efficient. But when you talk to him, he is the warmest, nicest guy. You're like, how could a guy be this genuinely nice, this charismatic, this awesome, and be so effective?
Well, I remember when we had the meeting with him, it was like, I was really curious about what he would be like as a person, just because he's like in this role. And it's like, it makes so much sense. It's like he was made for that. It's like, you can completely easily imagine how he's like opening all these countries up and like making all these connections among people and among agents, and, helping people kind of see a different way out there. So yeah, totally.
So something that I think about when you talk about like what's going to be like to meet a Michael Valdez, and here's the cool thing, folks, like 73,000 agents, and Lee and I can get Michael on the phone, and so can you, right? Mm-hmm. We can get Jason Gessing on the phone, our CEO, and so can you, right? Because they help us, right? So we have Tim and Julie Harris help us on agent attraction calls and with real estate production. We have Sean Kokoska help us with agent attraction calls and real estate production, and Orlando and Michael Valdez and all these people, the CEO, the president. We even had Glenn Sanford, the founder, say, yeah, I'll hop on a call with you guys. No problem. He is even interested in just helping us attract agents to EXP. And I say us, that's all inclusive. That includes you. Mm-hmm. And so we got Michael on the phone, and He's the kind of guy that he gives so much. You can tell he gives so much and cares so much that you just naturally want to do everything you can to help him.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that is a gift. That is really a gift and a blessing. And if I could have a third of that, 10% of that, um, in terms of my ability to move with people and to influence people, like just giving so much that they just bend over backwards to give back to you. It's just so awesome to see.
Well, and I think that people who are newer to the company, whether they're experienced agents or they're newer agents, it's hard for them to grasp that, because
Yeah.
I've said that. I'm like, you're gonna, if you join the brokerage and then you are doing production or you're doing agent attraction, these people are gonna help you. And I think that it's like they're like, I mean, it's very hard for people to actually grasp that. I mean, they
Yeah.
just, it's just it's really kind of a new idea, and it's like crazy that people in that, at that echelon would help you, and that's exactly what they do.
Because I'm looking at, and good morning, Matt Moss. I see a comment there. So I'm looking at other companies of similar size, right? There's a buy. Representing a listing, and the buyer changed jobs mid loan. So they take a pay cut for a better opportunity. The bank spanked him. He took his old job back, but now he's trying to get a letter from HR saying, yeah, he has his job and his hours and everything's going to be the same. And good morning, good morning. And here's the funny thing. We can't even get HR on the phone. And then when you get HR on the phone a week later, because the buyer's agent's calling, I'm calling, the lender's calling. When you get HR on the phone, it's an international company, right? When you get HR on the phone, they're like, oh, we can send out a letter, but it's computer generated. And oh, no, it's not on letterhead. And I can't put it on letterhead. And I can't customize a thing. And I can't do anything to help you, basically. The company has grown up so awkwardly that they have systems that are so broken that they don't actually help the employees, right? And this is another international company. And so this guy is going to lose his house because he can't get a letter saying, I work there.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas EXP, we go into a 3D world with Verbella, which EXPI owns, or EXP World Holdings owns, our 3D avatar company. So you go into the expo hall, you hop into the world, you jump over to go down, boom, boom, boom. You're in HR, you're in accounting. You talk to a live human being in a couple of seconds. And if there's a line, you take a ticket, you go somewhere else in the world, it automatically sucks you back in when it's your turn. And you just talk to a real live person. We have thousands of staff now, I think hundreds, thousands. I don't know how many people it is, like working in the world. I've never had to wait more than a couple of seconds to talk to somebody. And you get exactly what you need. And that is an international company that's still being very, very responsive to the agent, because Glenn Sanford and our group, our team, our family are just agent obsessed, and they give awards for being agent obsessed.
Yeah, well, and I mean, that's been exactly my experience in the world. I mean, people are, people who don't have, typically speaking, a lot of people that don't have any experience with it are like are critical, or they're skeptical. They're like, I don't know about this whole avatar thing. And then, my experience with it has been every time I go in there, which hasn't been a ton because I'm usually pretty focused on production, but like there's been a few times when I've had to go in there to help somebody else, like somebody I recruited, or I've had to go in there to even ask a question about one of my deals or whatever it is. Every single time I've gone in there, it's been like the most efficient thing I can imagine. I mean, I remember being at my previous brokerage, and if my broker wasn't available, I was like, might as well just go home. Like, can't get the question answered. She like, there were days when she's really busy. She's doing a lot of production. She's doing 40, 50 million plus a year. She doesn't always have time for me. And if I can't get her, then there's no one else. So there were times where I would have questions about something, and it would like stop the train. We don't know what to do. And now I go into the world, and even now I'm like, oh man, this is probably going to take like an hour. Well, no, it takes like 6 minutes. And I'm like, okay, well, these people working in the cloud, they have access to all this stuff, and you get in front of one of them and they just take care of it. And I think it's hard to understand until you do it, like how efficient that is.
And Matt, we'll get to your question there in 1 second. But yeah, it is so efficient, right? And you don't have to, shower up, put the suit on, drive half an hour to the office, hope that someone's there, make an appointment that someone's there. It's just 6 minutes, you're done.
Well, and there's not any like leaving voicemail. I would leave a voicemail for my broker. I'd be like, oh, I have this, big fire burning in one of my deals. It's a big problem. We're super time sensitive. We're closing in 2 days. I'm sketched out. And sometimes it would be like, the whole day before they would get back to me. And then sometimes they wouldn't even know. So I'm like, it's such a completely different environment. And the same thing is true for other agents in my town. I mean, I'm friends now with some EXP agents locally as well as nationally. And it's like, I feel like I have people I can text or call, and they'll help me as well. So it's like this giant army of help that I think when you're one of these large, other companies, you don't have that. You might have a few people in your office or your broker, and that's it. That's all you have. And I think with this system, it's hard for people to really get it until they're in it, but it's totally different.
Yeah. And the other thing too is like we've attracted so many team leaders, so many employing brokers, so many managing brokers to EXP that you hop into Workplace, which was designed by Facebook to look and act exactly like Facebook but it's just for us, right, at EXP. And so you jump into Workplace. I hop into the Colorado group. I post a question. I have 30 former employing brokers answering my question. Now I can also text and call and email and my state broker, my managing broker, right, the EXP one. But if I need something really fast, I can tap into this, like Release said, an army of people who are willing to help. Now I've never met 30 to 40 of these people, right? But
yeah,
they're all just like, hey, your family, let's collaborate. It's all the same stock. We're all going in the same direction. Let's just crush it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And it's not, I mean, tools that are unlike anything I've ever seen. I mean, it's real, it's like you're on this team with all your agents in your state, or like in your group on Workplace, or you have the world, or you have this bench that we have at our group, Libertas, which is like unlike anything I've ever seen. I mean, it's incredible, I mean, because it's like there's all
we're kind of like the Navy SEAls of EXPI.
We are. Yeah. It's the elite division. Like it's the Green Berets of EXP. It's insane.
So if you're interested in EXP, if you're interested in learning more about Libertas or working with Rick and Lee, text Lee at 206-419-8303. But for the next 2 weeks, text me 303-589-2320. And let's just have a conversation. Matt, to your point, Matt says, so step 1, ask someone if you're interested in EXP. Step 2, set up a meeting with the CEO of EXP. And step 3, profit. It's not quite that way, Matt. But it is, we save the CEO and the president for people who are kind of CEO and president level. A lot of questions we can answer kind of boots on the ground level. And so you kind of try to put, new producers with the relative people and then the brand and the big people with the big people. But here's the thing is that every day of the week, Libertas is doing a presentation for you, right? So really all you have to do is just say to someone, hey, are you open-minded to new opportunity? And we have scripts for that. We have some other ways, but are you just open-minded to a better business model where you can make more money and have more support and have more fun? Are you just open-minded? And if someone's not open-minded, I don't want to work with them anyway. Right? I mean, you're inviting someone into your life. You're inviting someone into your life that you're going to invest time and energy into. I want that person to be fun, cool, productive, awesome. Like I only want to work with awesome people. So I'm not talking to jerks. I'm not talking to defensive, closed-minded people. I don't want to work with them anyway. Not in my family. I mean, I'll obviously work on a deal with someone on the other side, but I don't want them in my family, right? You get to pick your family at EXP. And so regardless of who you were born to and who your siblings were and your cousins, your uncles, and whatever trailer you walked out of or mansion, like you can pick your family at EXP. So I chose the Navy SEAls. I had like the ultimate commander, Tim and Julie Harris, like ask me to join. I'm like, if I can share the blessing of joining with you with other people, that's the ultimate ticket. So, and hopefully you'll get to meet them soon here on the show. But the thing is like, if I chose some awesome parents at EXPI, right? My business partners, I get to choose my cousins, my brothers, my sisters, like my nieces, my nephews, like I get to choose these people, right? And so we're going to bring in awesome people. And so every day here in the Libertas group, we have awesome people, better than me, better than Lee, who are sharing what this model is all about. Right?
Well, and that's something
explaining it for you. You don't even have to know what it's about.
Right. I mean, that's something to Matt's point, though, that like has really kind of astounded me is like if I need to get somebody, if I'm trying to recruit someone, whether they're a brand new agent or they have, or they have 200 agents under them, I've been continually impressed with all of the people who are willing to hop on that call in our group. I mean, pretty much down to a person. Every single person that I've reached out to has been more than willing to hop on a call, or, and the people who are doing these weekly presentations are like some of the leaders in the whole group. And I've been to all of their different presentations now, and they all present so incredibly well that it's like, I kind of just want to get out of the way too. I'm like, why listen to me do it when you can listen to Sean present about EXP and about his experience and about, all of his experience in coaching and in production and looking at all the brokerage models that are out there and business models that are out there. It's like, if you go to his presentation, which is Fridays, by the way, it's incredible. And even if you're not even, even if you're not even in the recruiting thing yet, or you're kind of thinking about getting into it, just go and see how he does it. It's incredible.
Yeah. Well, and for the agent attraction part, like we talk about production, we talk about agent attraction, and we're kind of turning this session today into a Freedom Friday, even though it's not a Friday. But the but the thing is, like, you have so many tools at your disposal to increase production, and we're going to be sharing that from coaches and top producers all over the country, even all over the world, right? I mean, we've expanded. Our Libertas group has opened up 5 countries for EXP. Considering we're in 18, we're doing okay. And we have the head of growth and development for Brazil in our group. We have the person who opened Mexico in our group. We have just such a deep talent bench, and the ability to, I'm kind of going down a rabbit hole here, but to wake up and have a check come from Brazil because someone sold a home, that never even crossed my mind 4 years ago, right?
Well, yeah,
it crossed my mind back in college when I studied international business, and I spent 17 months overseas, and I was going to be this globetrotter, this hotshot, and I was 18 and unstoppable and immortal. But you start having kids and you start getting anchored, and you start realizing how myopic your world is being. And I can only influence the people within a half mile of my house, in my home office. And when you get tapped into a global company that's cloud-based, that shares so freely, where you can learn so much, now all of a sudden you have global influence. Like, what?
Yeah, well, and that's something that I'm experiencing right now, because it's like, I have people who I talk to who are on every different commission split you can imagine. I mean, 100%, flat fee, 50/50, and a 33,000 cap, like one brokerage that I know here in my town. Wow. Everything under the sun. And I'm at the point now where, like,
just let that sink in. A $33,000 cap, and you're giving half of every check to the broker.
Or the best one, the one that really gave me a chuckle recently, was the 60/40 no cap. Like, think about that for a minute. I mean, you must really love your broker, because if you're a top producer, you're probably giving him over $100,000 a year, maybe 200,000 if you're really nailing it.
Do you want to hear a story that'll make you cry? At one point, when we had our first child, I didn't know if I could do the whole business myself, and I'll let you get back to your point. I left my own brokerage to get help. I wanted a TC. I wanted a marketing plan. I wanted the best CRM. I wanted all this stuff done for me. And I was willing to pay for it to the tune of 40%, a 60/40. I was paying 40% to my broker. My cap was 70 grand until I hit a 90/10 split. Now, that brokerage here in Denver, very, very big, prominent independent brokerage. I don't know if they're still on a 60/40 to a 70 cap split, but if you do, if there's a porch or a light or something like that in your logo, that's a lot of money to be giving somebody. And I started realizing that with 70, if you take 70, go to 16 at EXP, our cap, with that 54,000, you can hire 2 virtual assistants. One is an ISA to make outbound calls for you nonstop, and one to do all your creative for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, that's,
Go ahead. So back to 60/40 with no cap. That's what made me realize, like, oh my gosh. Like,
yeah. And that's, I mean, and the thing that I'm experiencing now at EXP is I'm starting to earn some revenue share, not a ton, but some, and enough to basically cover my cap. And I'm like, well, so now essentially, if you just drill down, I'm essentially at 100% right out of the gate now, because my revenue share is covering my cap, or the vast majority of it. So I'm in this luxury position that most realtors will never, ever experience ever of, not being, not having to give, $100,000 or $50,000 to my broker. And the thing that just blows me away is how many people I talk to who are like, oh, I'll never move. I love my broker. He's just such a great guy. And I'm like, well, is he a great enough guy to give him $80,000 a year? I mean, do you really like him that much?
Yeah.
That's the
And
thing.
here's another one. Ask your spouse or significant other.
Yeah. Yeah. Ask them how they feel about that. Would $80,000 in additional income per year change your situation at all? I mean, maybe it wouldn't. Maybe it wouldn't. Maybe, you're like Elon Musk and it wouldn't change anything. I don't know. But
and I want to respect your prospecting time and mine and that of everybody else. So we're at 30. We should wrap up, but I just want to close with one other thing. I was talking to someone recently. He was an independent broker. He was just himself. And he's like, why would I pay a 16,000 cap to somebody? I said, well, you know what? I've paid 2,000 a month in coaching. It's 24,000 a year in coaching. So look at this as a $16,000 coaching investment. And it's less, for $1,500 a month for a producing agent, right? Like average it out. For $1,500 a month, you get coaching in business, in life, and you, as a bonus, you get free systems. You get 60 hours a week of live training. You get Tim and Julie and Sean and Orlando and all these other people. But look at it as a coaching experiment. And I've experimented with coaching at 2,000, at 3,000, at more, right? So experiment with it. And don't look at it as a mind shift, right? Like, don't look at it as oh my God, I got to spend 16 grand. For a lot of people, that's a huge savings. And then you say, look at all the coaching I'm going to get. Look at all the training and the systems and the support and how much it's going to grow my business. And if you can grow your business, that's a wonderful coaching experiment. I mean, we get cell phone access to Tim and Julie Harris, cell phone access to all these top coaches of the world. And I never had that before. But if you look at it as, hey, for $1,500 a month, I get that kind of access. And oh, by the way, I've already earned the $1,500 back in rev share. And oh, by the way, I've already earned that back in terms of increasing my production. Oh, by the way, I've been able to bless people like Lee with this opportunity and other people with this opportunity who thank me on a daily basis and for just making the introduction. Like, how good does that feel that you can have a positive impact on somebody's life, on their production, and introduce them to freedom? I mean, if I stopped today, if I attracted no one else today, I know I've positively impacted so many lives that it was worth it. And I could always go back and just be Denver Lifestyle, not brokered by EXP, but I'd rather be Denver Lifestyle brokered by EXP because I can bless more people.
Well, and it's honestly my very favorite part. I mean, I used to think, being successful in production would be like the pinnacle. Nope. Yeah. The pinnacle for me is helping other people. That's the pinnacle. It's
a great shift. Hey, Lee, you have an awesome time sharpening the saw. I want to hear all about it. Every once in a while, I'm not gonna text you. I'm not gonna email you. But if you want to just text me a picture of someplace beautiful, go for it.
I'll do it.
And when you get back, make sure you plan. We're gonna have 10 shows without you. So that's at a half an hour. That's 5 hours of content you're gonna have to watch when you come back just to catch up.
Watch it all back. You can be sure, especially if you have guests like that.
Yeah, you watch it on the plane on the way home, right?
That's right. That's right.
All right, everybody. See you tomorrow.